Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Houston Baptist University for our second National Signing Day for football. Just want to let everyone know that head coach Vic Shealy is going to come up and speak, and after that, he's going to be available for one-on-one interviews afterwards with each media outlet. And also, press releases are in the back as well as food, so be sure to pick up some lunch on the way out. And now, you don't want to listen to me speak, so I'm going to turn it over to head football coach Vic Shealy.
Well, good morning, and it's great to be here. Just great to be here on a great day where we get a chance to really celebrate our second comprehensive class here at HBU. It's a very, very talented group, and I look forward to being able to speak to each one of the young men that have signed. Just a real quick thank you to some really valuable folks that has been a part of this process of 20 months that I've been on campus. Time flies when you're having fun, and there's rarely a day that drive into the office with the staff and that's here on the football staff and the university as a whole, that it's just not a blast to walk in on campus. Mark Dennison, the chairman of the board of trustees here at HBU is here this morning, and his support in being one of the most critical individuals in bringing football to campus. I certainly want to continue to say thank you. I think there's a measure of debt that all of us in football have to Mr. Dennison. And then certainly our president, Dr. Robert Sloan, is a special president because of his academic credential and the integrity in which he leads, but certainly the vision for football, the understanding of football and why it's so critically important here on campus. I feel like I'm the most fortunate head football coach in America to have him as our president. And so, Dr. Sloan, we appreciate that. And then certainly Steve Maniaci, one of the smarter ADs that I have had a chance to be around. And I say it with all great confidence in his leadership of our department. Our staff, every day we get a chance to, be it coaching or be it recruiting, invest in this program and invest in the players of our program. And we have great men that are involved day in, day out. But behind their men, are the wives that support. And my wife, Holly's here today, and so I'm kind of thanking her for all that she does. I really want to kind of say it in a way that's thanking all of the wives and our families on our staff. The things that we ask and the sacrifices that we ask our wives to go through, the amount of time that is really a sacrifice to them. I think as coaches, we get a chance to be little boys and continue to be involved in this great game. And our wives are picking up the pieces a lot with the families. So, Holly, and behalf of the rest of the wives, thank you so much for what you do for all of us there. This is a great class. 22 players signed this morning to be future Huskies. And they are a very, very special and very dynamic class in so many ways. We were very, very excited last year when we stood here and were able to introduce about 27 in our first class. And that group of individuals through the fall have done a phenomenal job of working, of being willing to suffer in the heat of summer, to be able to sit there and lift weights, run, all the things that build and develop their athletic ability. They've bought into a belief and they bought into a vision that this university has for football. And so that class will always be most special. I think this 2014 class is unique because what it does, it comes in and probably does as much to really complement and then to more comprehensively address the roster. You cannot simply, obviously, in one recruiting class, hit every component that you need in order to line up and compete. This class coming in addresses a lot of those areas that we needed to address. But I think it also really, when they come in on campus and they see the group of talented players that exist here, it's going to be excited. And I cannot wait until this summer when we get them all on campus. This class of 22, we have 18 of those are from the state of Texas. We have 4 junior college players. One is on campus right now, which I'll address a little bit, but two from Oklahoma, one from Mississippi. I think when you kind of look at the group, one of the issues that we look at in coaching is that balance between taking an older junior college guy in the program versus taking a young player out of high school. And I think you always kind of sit there and you make decisions based on what's the healthiest person to come into a position, what makes a particular position better. And we're confident that the junior college players we brought in will address an immediate need for us. But we expect this class athletically to play as freshmen in our program right off the get-go. I think that there are many in that class that will have a long impact not only on our program, but will become real fixtures in the Southland Conference in the days ahead. Within this class, you're looking at three state champions. Manville High School representing our program. Cedar Hill High School certainly beat Katy this year, and Cedar Park. So young men that know how to win. Of the class of 22, it represents a 70% winning percentage. It is a winning class. There are 14 teams that are representing this class by which may do the playoffs, and they play a total of 36 games within the playoffs. So a good deep run by the teams. It just wasn't kind of a one and done type situation. The honor of being able to have our first, as HBU, our first top 100 recruit in this city. This is the finest football city in the nation. I think the greater Houston area, if you could see the respect that it has by the number and the volume of coaches that recruited, and today, just the hundreds of kids that will sign out of this city, the numbers support that. So to be really able to share with you our first top 100, I think is a special opportunity for our program. And I think when you kind of look at really a greater presence this year in the Golden Triangle area in this class, we have about 8 Houston players, but when you bring in the Golden Triangle, you're adding that about another 2 and possibly 3 here in the next 24 hours. While today on the written copy, I think only 12 are written bios. 2, their NCAA process of paperwork coming in being approved did not happen until just a short bit ago, so we were not able at the time to get that in, but I know Russ will make that available so that everyone has the bios on all 22. I'd like to take just a few minutes to go through each of the 22 athletes. I'll be very quick and brief, and then certainly following that, we will look forward to time to visit further in detail with each. First player in this class is C.J. Barner, and we'll go through them in alphabetical order. C.J. is an offensive tackle here from Houston Lamar High School. Certainly a great storied program in this city. C.J. was a very highly recruited player. I can assure you that we would have played against him, a team right up the road. He was committed early to a team in the northern part of our city that's in the Southland, and we did really a fine job. He had multiple offers in the Southland Conference, and C.J. is special. He's got a great frame on him at 6'4", 253. He's very, very athletic. It's hard to find those really fast twitch, tall guys that are very athletic, that just on the field are always in balance. And C.J. Special is a very bright athlete in the classroom, and we're extremely excited about C.J. Dominic Barnett is one of the best corners in this city. Played at Elsick High School. He's about a 6'1", 185 player, and is very, very dynamic. We expect Dominic to make an immediate impact in our program, as we think that he's one of those athletes that truly is unique in just how well he moves. Derek Burchard, it is out of Beaumont Central High School. He's a corner. Interesting thing about Derek, he graduated high school in 3 years. He's coming into HBU. He is a very high academic scholarship individual, one of those extremely bright individuals. Is also a very athletic player. One might say that he was the best cover player in the secondary there at Beaumont Central, which those would know is an extremely athletic high school football program. Comes with great reputation on and off the field, and we're extremely excited about Derek signing with us this morning. Jonathan Buffin is a safety corner type mixture. He's one of those unique defensive backs that can really play every position in the back end, not only from a skill level, but also from an intellectual area. One of the smartest football IQ guys I've been around in quite some time. Cedar Hill, as we know, beat Katy High School, which probably most didn't think that Katy would lose the ball game for the next century. And so Cedar Hill, to certainly their credit, won this year. And Jonathan was a big part of the success of a great defense there. Kevin Butts, when you talk about road graders, we got a couple of road graders. And when you talk about an offensive lineman being a road grader, we're obviously we're talking about guys who are massive, strong players that can move the line of scrimmage forward. I think the guards are so important, and we see Kevin coming in and playing guard for us, is that they're so critical in setting really the depth of the pocket in the passing game, and then the stability to handle the down lineman at the most crucial point, usually on your inside running game. And Kevin is an immensely strong player, very athletic. The Woodlands is a tremendous high school program in this city, and Kevin is a tremendous player in that program, and we're grateful. He has a great family, and we look forward to a lot of great years where we'll see him opening a lot of large holes for our running backs. The one junior college player that's on campus right now is Mike Cole. He's out of Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. It's a really fine, historic junior college up in Oklahoma. Mike is one of those players that uniquely is a very, very tough, athletic guy, fits the mold of a safety, but has phenomenal really foot quickness and hip flexibility. He will become a very, very dynamic contributor right off the bat because of his ability to play corner also. Mike is one of the more hardworking players that we see, and the testimony that people speak about him is his leadership ability and his ability to affect others around him. So we're counting on Mike to be a significant leader on the back end for us on defense. Trey Gardner is a defensive lineman out of San Antonio Roosevelt High School. Trey is very, very athletic, very quick, and for a big guy, I think he weighed 303 pounds on our physical there in this past weekend. And when you see a guy that big move as fast as he does, you know, it's a great sign that we're attracting those big, large linemen that can bend and play very explosive. On the quarterback in this class is Isaiah Hall. He is a young man out of Burleson High School here in Burleson, Texas, just south of Fort Worth. Burleson perhaps has not, over the years, been known as a great football tradition. I think in the last 2 years there that Isaiah has led that program, and the way that he's put that program on the map football-wise and has made him a playoff team. Burleson lost to Aledo in the first round of the state championship this year, state playoffs, and that's not necessarily a bad loss because I'm not sure anybody came any closer to beating Aledo all year long than Burleson. He's a dual threat guy. He's able to win with his feet, and he has a really beautiful throwing motion, and so very, very great arm talent, a very smart, intellectual individual, and has great leadership qualities, and have been really, really impressed with how he handles himself in both the personal relationship side, but also seeing him lead his high school football team. A defensive end linebacker by the name of Corey Hayes out of San Antonio Brandeis High School, another playoff team, historical. Coach Campbell over there has done a relatively amazing job in a short amount of time in leading Brandeis. You have a player that is at a relatively new high school, so he understands what football means to come to a new school. Corey is a 4.5 40 guy, which is really unusual for a tall, long athlete. Very, very athletic, and Corey is just one of those guys. When you see him on the tape, you can't believe sometimes that a guy with that kind of length can run as well as he does. Taylor Holmes, a local product here at Sidewoods High School, a linebacker, really a phenomenal, strong player. Just plays so physically, runs so well. We have high expectations for Taylor to be able to come in our program and immediately help us as an edge rush guy. I think one of the things that we do want to improve at significantly is our ability to pressure the quarterback off the edge. And we have little doubt in our minds that Taylor is one of those key ingredients to us being able to do that. Josh Jones is a junior college defensive end out of Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. Is an extremely physical guy. He's 6'3", 240. He has the measurables that you get excited about already. He is of size. And when you look at just how well he runs and how well he rushes the quarterback, you begin to see where the power and the speed are unique. Josh was a very fortunate kid. He was very, very highly recruited. Junior college player, as they often are, that are those fast edge guys. Josh is a phenomenal, great fit for our university. His family and the values that they have held and tried to raise Josh, it's neat to be able to see that relationship in an older player come to your program and be such a great fit. We certainly expect Josh to come in and he will look really quick, like a guy that belongs well and will play well in the Southland Conference. Caleb Malvo, one of the most interesting young men that I've had a chance to come across in a long time. His seriousness and his determination to be special are truly unique. Sometimes probably 17 and 18-year-old young men don't always affect you as a coach. And this guy's intensity for life is truly amazing. He is another one of these guys. They're a 300-plus group, very, very athletic, very explosive off the ball. Played next to a defensive tackle right next to him that is committed to a Big 12 school here. And when you watched them on tape, you couldn't tell which one was which number. They looked like two peas in a pod there, and Caleb is immensely explosive, and he will make a difference for us up front. Very much a key component to our defensive front recruiting this year. Trey Owens was our first committed athlete in this class. Trey's a linebacker out of South Grand Prairie, certainly one of the best programs in the Metroplex. Trey is a very interesting athlete because his ability to play all three linebacker positions for us. A great young man, runs. Most of these guys came to our camp this summer, and Trey, after about one or two snaps in our camp, we just kind of sit there and we're blown away by his explosion. Terrence Peters, one could say that there's not a finer running back in this city over at Safford High School. And I think Coach Allen's done a fantastic job at that school and the consistency of winning. And when you have guys like Terrence Peters, you can understand why. I look forward to y'all being able to watch his highlight tape because y'all will see that a lot of great things are getting ready to happen to our offense. And very, very dynamic, has power, has balance, has vision, and it just has the ability to take the ball the length of the field. Kyle Tomasi, one of those road graders we talked about, inside guard at a Manville High School. Another one of the guys. We got a lot of 300-pounders in this bunch, and that's a really cool thing for a football coaching staff. Kyle certainly has been anchored in one of the finest offensive lines in the state. That offensive line of theirs is well coached as any in the state, and they do a fantastic job. So when we can take a lineman out of Manville High School, we get excited because we know that that's going to transition quickly into our program. And Kyle is just an amazing young man and an amazing family there. Brandon Taylor is not on your sheet. He was one of our late guys that paperwork came in. He's a wide receiver out of Brentwood Academy in Nashville, Tennessee. Brentwood Academy is one of the most long-standing, highest winning percentage programs in the state of Tennessee, multiple state championships over the year. Brandon is dynamic. It's through a mutual relationship to that school that we were able to get a foot in his recruiting. Down at the end, it kind of came pretty contested on him recruiting. So as a wide receiver, his ability to close and push the defensive secondary is amazing. We have significantly increased our ability to run at wide receiver. Brandon is an amazing return guy. When he gets back in there, getting ready for a punt to come down, you almost kind of believe it's back in those days of Deion Sanders where everybody just kind of hushes for a moment and gets in with anticipation of him touching the football. He's a tremendous athlete, and we are very, very fortunate to have Brendan in our program. Stephen Thompson's another great running back. If you look in this city, Taylor High School has become quickly one of those schools that is having tradition in creating running backs in the city. Stephen comes out of that group over there. I think they do a fantastic job of coaching those young men. Stephen has that great balance of power, of balance, and an ability to burst. We're excited that this is a special young man, and we look forward to being able to see how he can just continue to grow as a player in our program. Certainly one of the most probably to come noted athletes in this class is Taryn Timmons out of Stephen F. Austin High School here in the city. He is on the local media top 100 in the city. He was a long-time commit for about 4 months at a BCS school, and we were able right in that week right after Thanksgiving to be able to share our story with him in a more dynamic way And it's neat when you have a young man that's so richly talented. As you look at his measurables, 6'4", 206, as a defensive back, he truly is unique in terms of the way that the Lord has blessed him athletically. But he's a phenomenal young man, very bright in the classroom, a wonderful mother. And so it's really an honor for us to have all these men. But certainly when you do pull a top 100 out of this city, it's a great day for our program. Another wide receiver, D'Angelo Wallace, out of Steele High School there in San Antonio area. Certainly that program over there over the last 7-8 years has made a mark in this state, probably that maybe outside of Manville High School in terms of how quickly Manville, Dawson are probably similar. A difference maker, so athletic and explosive. It is amazing his ability when he touches the ball affects the game. And much like Brendan Taylor, those two guys with our receiver core, we have become a significantly faster receiving core. Chad Whitehead is a tight end out of Cedar Park High School, which is certainly one of the best programs in Central Texas and has become, obviously, with last year's state championship, one of the top in the state. Chad is a tight end. He's more of the athletic type tight end that would detach himself from the line of scrimmage as almost a large wide receiver. Very good route runner, phenomenal hands, is extremely athletic, great skill set there as a pass receiving tight end, but certainly I believe has also shown toughness. And then the last player that I will speak about is DeMarco Williams, probably one of the most unique young men in terms of who he is as an individual. One of those guys as a coach that when you're with him, you don't want to ever leave. You just wish you could stay with him 24/7. His humbleness, but yet when you look at his ability on his highlight tape and how athletic he is, he's a defensive end, outside linebacker type. That here again is that fast edge rusher, dynamic. But his graciousness and his humbleness is one that I am challenged by. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity to have all these young men in our program. I think when we kind of look at DeMarco Williams, while we talk about him being a speed guy, this class does a lot right now where we really are looking at speed. All right, the class, be it linemen, be it backs, it's speed. And we are a faster football team today because of these young men, and we look forward to it. In closing, I do believe that probably in the next 2 or 3 days you'll see a couple more individuals added to our class. Sometimes in recruiting, the decisions are pushed back a little bit until clarity comes, and so we probably look forward to being able to add to this as we go. So if we'd like to, Rush, do you want to segue now into individual? That sound good? Great, thanks. I'll be glad to do that.
Coach, after your first year of actually playing, what kind of reaction have you gotten from some of the kids you've recruited? What have you been able to show, the future of the program with stadium development and all that?
I think when you kind of look at the class that came in last year, it was a class that I would probably characterize as being a very achieving class in their high school career. There were a lot of really tremendous high school successes there, kids that knew how to win. So immediately you bring those guys in on campus and you bring a group of guys that know how to win. The work ethic and expectation is immediately felt. So when you try and create culture on campus and you bring in winners, you create a winning mindset. And that carries over from practice to the weight room. And so I think last year's bunch, we're just so impressed with how, sometimes we talk about in football, they're willing to suffer. And they are willing to suffer to be a great football player and a great football team. I think many of the things that we enjoyed off of last fall is being able to see our guys compete, to be able to create some brotherly bonds, to be able to create that chemistry that you can only get by playing, to be able to sit there and see how our guys compete. Obviously, a few teams were difficult to compete against because of where we were age-wise in our program. But it was a great learning platform, and it was great to see how they competed. So I think just the ability to compete and the attitude by which they work is really that group's characterized. This group, I think, is a lot the same in terms of winning kids, but it's just that the competition now becomes greater. And when you bring in 20-plus guys in the program, all that are athletically, significantly talented, competition is a great thing to bring out the best in other players. One other thing, I just got noticed there that one guy came in, his information late, is Greg Hadley. He's an offensive lineman out of Etowamba Community College in northern part of Mississippi. Greg is a very, very athletic player. He can play virtually any position on the offensive line. He's athletic enough to be tackle, but he has that size and strength. Greg is right in that frame, about 6'4" and about 270, and very athletic. He can play guard or tackle. He comes in as a high football IQ guy, comes in as a very strong academic scholarship guy. And so to have those smart guys that have versatility up front, he will add a lot to our class. I think offensive line, age is the greatest blessing that that group typically brings to your team. I do believe an offensive line is a heart and soul of a football team. And Greg will help us significantly bringing that age to our offensive line. So I'm glad to be able to announce Greg Hadley in this group also. Okay. Thank you.
Lonnie King here at Houston Baptist University on the campus today for National Signing Day, and earlier head coach Vic Shealy announced the 2014 recruiting class for the HBU Huskies, and very exciting times around here. We had a chance to visit with Coach Shealy and the president of this school, Dr. Robert Sloan.
Well, I tell you, this is an exciting day. I think you look at this group of athletes to come in with what we have on campus. As a coach, you know, it feels like Christmas, and this is old Husky Christmas. And we are grateful at this university, the way that it is embraced our program, to sit there and to be able to have athletes visit campus and to be able to see all the smiling faces that greet them and support us. These are exciting times. We are quickly growing a program here that I'm convinced is going to make this university excited and proud about Saturdays. We are quickly narrowing the gap between us and some of those teams in the conference that have maybe been at the top a little bit too long. And so it's our plan and our goal is to quickly not only narrow that gap, but also to surpass those teams. And so some of those teams in the South End better look out because the Huskies are coming.
This is an exciting day for HBU. This is our second annual recruiting class, and this is National Signing Day, and we just have some outstanding players who've come to join us. It of course means a lot for football and for athletics, but what it means to the total university is just enormously exciting and motivating for all of us because here are young men whose families have entrusted them to us. They have the opportunity to get a great education. We have the opportunity to be excited as we see them do their exploits on the field. The student body's excited. The amazing thing is, and we now have quantitative proof for what we really thought would happen, and that is that football attracts other students to the campus. Our male percentage last year alone increased by 6 percentage points in 1 year, and we attribute that to football. We set last year, for many reasons, but football was one of them, we set a new record at HBU for overall attendance for freshmen and new student enrollment. I really think we will break that record again in the fall of 2014. And here's the amazing thing. Our student athletes overall have a 3.0 grade point average. Both men and women are doing very well in the classroom. Our overall campus-wide retention rates from a year ago at this time have gone up a couple of percentage points, which is a huge difference. So not only are we getting greater numbers of students, and athletics I think is a big part of that, but we are holding on to our students, which means there's better engagement for them. There's what we call retention as a metric is improving because the student body's engaged, the alumni are engaged. Donations at the university have increased, and we have some exciting announcements to make in the very near future. But there's support for our athletic programs and for all of our programs, academically, including the academics across the university. So these are very exciting days for HBU, and we've had a wonderful day right here on National Signing Day.
So some exciting days ahead. The new recruits have been announced. The construction on the new football stadium is about to begin here. We'll be on campus for the fall. And of course, spring football just a few weeks away. So keep in touch, we'll be in touch, and look forward to a lot of exciting news from the Husky football program. Dogs up.